Welcome to episode 8 of Manhood Mondays. I am Clifton Brantley, and I am really glad that you are with me tonight. I appreciate you joining tonight when you could be doing a lot of other things. I know that Milwaukee and the Nets are playing right now, and I definitely want to see Kevin Durant play. I saw a little bit of that, but they're playing tonight. Golden State and the Lakers playing a little bit later. So a lot of things you could have been doing tonight, so I appreciate you being here. I don't take it for granted. I promise you we won't be long tonight, okay? So this week on Manhood Mondays, in this last installment of Fatherhood, I want to talk about the example, wisdom, and protection of a father. Okay. Now, I started these Manhood Mondays because I recognize that no one really taught me how to be a man. So I struggled at it for a long time. And then, interestingly enough, once I finally figured out what it meant to be a man, I get married, and then well, it's before I got married, but I meet my wife and I'm challenged again to conform to her view of what a man is. And I don't say that necessarily in a negative way, because it's really for all women, right? In this view of a man that you have. So after all of that, what I realized was two things. Number one, we don't become men because we get older. Right? You don't grow into manhood. And number two, a woman can't tell you what a man is. She can tell you what she likes, but a woman cannot define a man. Now, I admit that the characteristics of a good man may be a little subjective, meaning they may be different for different people. And if you're a woman who has a man or wants a man, make sure that you are being realistic. My phone is distracting me. Make sure you're being realistic in what you're looking for, and not really following fantasy, right? Because no man shows up knowing how to be your fantasy. You can do what you want, but I strongly encourage you to prioritize character over candy. Candy is what makes you smile and what makes you feel good in the moment, but ultimately it's not good for you, right? Now, this little beginning part is all for all the women who keep asking me, am I going to do something for the ladies? Yes. Consider this a precursor to that. Okay. So now for the men. Now, with today being Dr. King's holiday, I thought it would be fitting to talk about legacy. Now, the legacy that Dr. King left was not one of fatherhood. What I'm sure he did with his children, but that's not what we know him for, right? He left a legacy of social justice. But I want to help you leave a legacy of love, right? Now, you might be the first generation, but I want you to leave a legacy of love, because that is the thing that your children will need most from you. All right. Here's the definition of legacy. Something transmitted or received from an ancestor or predecessor, or from the past. That makes sense? So I need you to know, you will leave a legacy. Without question, you will leave a legacy. But what kind of legacy it will be is the question. That actually is the question that put me on the path that I'm on now. I wanted to leave a legacy. As a father, what will your legacy be? Let me be clear in saying you will leave a legacy. Whether it is a legacy to be celebrated or not, you will leave one. And so my goal is to help you leave a legacy of love in your family. But here's the question I want to ask you, right? If you died today, what would your legacy be? If today was your last day on the planet, what would your legacy be? How many of you have the exact date and time you will die? None of us do. We don't know. But we often live as if we do know, and that the date is way far off, right? And I will admit, I don't do as much as I think. Let me put it this way: I don't do as much as I think about doing to prepare my children for when I'm not here. But that is actually one of my biggest concerns when it comes to death. Right? I'm not so afraid of death. I'm not afraid of dying per se, because I know where I'm going. When I think about death and me not being ready, it's really about my children being prepared, and have I prepared them enough? So, what I'm trying to do through this whole manhood series, and specifically this fatherhood, is help you to leave a legacy of love for your children, right? I don't want my children questioning if daddy really loved them. I don't want my children questioning what kind of man dad was, or I don't want them trying to live a life completely opposite of dad, or my daughter trying to find a man completely opposite of dad because dad was terrible. I don't want that, right? So now, as with always, there's a lot of areas we could focus on tonight to talk about this legacy of love, to leave for your children. But I've chosen three, the three areas that I mentioned in the beginning. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. You leaving a legacy as a father, right? So we're going to talk about the example you leave, the wisdom you share, and the protection you provide, right? And when we talk about the example you leave, you need to truly grasp the reality that your children are paying attention more than you may think. Your children are paying attention more to your behavior than your words. You can't tell them, do what I say and not what I do. That won't work. The thing about life is that it has difficulty built in. You don't have to create it. It's just there. So how you prepare your children as a father, you're not trying to take difficulty out of life, but you want to add to their life instead of to the difficulty, so that they can do life better, especially when you're gone, right? You got to teach them how to face difficulties. How you relate to your children is how they will relate to themselves and other people. And the thing about it, if you're quiet and distant, then they may develop the belief that someone not paying close attention to them, or someone paying close attention to them, is not important. And they can have a vibrant personality. Like, they may have a different personality than you. But if you're distant and cold, the message they may get is something is wrong with me, or this is how I should be loved, which is going to leave them love deficient, right? You don't want your children showing up to adulthood love deficient, or seeking men who are love deficient. That's not what you want. My point is, because children learn primarily through modeling, you need to be the kind of man they would want to model their life after. Okay? A man of integrity, a man of patience, a man who is gentle and shows that he cares by his presence, not just his words. You want to model for your children how to be angry, but respond in a healthy way. You want to model for your children how to resolve conflicts, or how to resolve conflict in a way that creates intimacy. You want to model. I tell parents all the time. They say, I don't want to fight in front of my kids, and what I tell them is, it's not so bad to fight in front of your children. Now, you don't want to have combat. As a matter of fact, you don't want to have combat at all. But you definitely don't want to have combat in front of your children. But I say this: you can disagree in front of your children, as long as it's not toxic and ugly. You can disagree in front of your children as long as you make up in front of your children. Why? So they'll know how to do human relationships, because a part of doing human relationships, you're going to have conflict. But if they never see you resolve it, then they may lack the skills they need to resolve it themselves. So you can fight in front of them, but also resolve it. Be the first to apologize, fathers, right? Be the one to come to the table, say, hey, let's talk about this, and do it in front of the kids. Don't sit the kids down and say, hey, y'all watch this. I'm not talking about that. But when everybody's in the room, maybe like in the living room or somewhere, go to your wife and apologize or make up. This means you have to swallow your pride. You can't be full of pride to do this process. But the goal is leave an example for your children on how to resolve conflict, right? Show them how to go through tough times, right? This means that you might have to show them what faith is, right? Show them how to go through difficult times without worrying, but instead trusting that everything is going to work out for their good, even if it doesn't work out the way they want. If you instill that in them early, they'll live from that place and they won't get rattled when life gets rattled, right? And then model for your children how to love by the way that you love them and by the way that you love their mother. That's important. By the way, when you are disrespectful to their mom, you're being unloving to your children. Yeah, don't forget that. When you're being disrespectful to their mom in any kind of way, you're being unloving to your children. Why? Because they need the best version of both of you. And if you are tearing her down, then it will hurt the children. Now, this is also true in reverse, but I'm talking to the men, so I'm telling you, don't be that way towards their mom, right? When you cheat, you are harming your children. When you when you watch porn, you're harming your children, even if they don't see you watching it. Why? Because you're taking away from the wholeness, emotional wholeness their dad needs to be the best for them. Now watch this. While divorcing may hurt, right? Divorcing may hurt your children, but it will be better than showing that you have no integrity and to be with their mom in the house together and y'all don't love each other. That is teaching them a whole different lesson. And I have so many parents, why y'all still together? Well, because we want the kids to grow up in a 2-parent home. But it's toxic though. Like, y'all not committed to loving each other. Y'all just going to be in the house. You are setting them up for, by the time your kids get grown, I may still be doing therapy, but it may not be me. My point is, you setting them up to sit on somebody's couch. Don't do that, right? Have integrity. Treat their mom well. Get out of your pride and learn to love, like in real life. Learn to love, so that your children can see it and know what it's supposed to look like. So many of my clients has actually never even seen love, and so they're trying to make it up on their own. That's dangerous. Jeremy Foster has a thing where he says he does this every now and then to keep himself focused on the big picture, right? When he's home alone, he will line up 5 chairs to represent his 5 children. And he talks to the chairs as if his children were sitting there. And he says, kids, I have to tell you that mommy and daddy can't be together anymore, right? Daddy did something to hurt mommy really bad, and now our family has to be broken up. Daddy could not control himself, right? Now, whether you go to that extreme or not, keep your children at the forefront of your mind as you try to model for them how to do life well on this planet, right? Now, one area of modeling I think is crucial is modeling for them how to handle money, right? That's something, at least in the Black community, we don't really do well. Well, at least not when I was growing up, right? I don't know about other communities, but I know most of the black families when I was growing up, nobody taught us about money. Maybe save a little here. Don't spend all you have. You might have heard that, but for the most part, there was nothing, right? I'm just now learning the importance of investing. It's too late. Not, I shouldn't say it's too late, but I'm way far behind the game. If I had known now, known back then, like in my 20s, what I know now, literally, I would be a millionaire without question. Without question. And money is not the goal. Comfort and comfortability and being able to help people and have and living your own dreams. That's the goal, right? Other cultures teach their children about money when they're in middle school, right? So if you're like me and you got a late start learning about money or you don't know about money, I strongly urge you to get the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Excellent book about money. And then get The Millionaire Next Door. Also a great book. Those two books will help you shift your mind when it comes to money. You need to get that to your children, right? These will help you get started being better, wiser with your money. Now, all in all, just remember your children are watching you. Even when you think they're not watching, they're watching, okay? Children learn primarily through what they see you do. Okay, so be mindful of that. Now, the next one, when it comes to wisdom, you need to be sure you're not telling them something that will hinder their life later on in life, right? When you parent from a place of fearful, when you parent from a place of fear or pain, you will tell them things that are not true, or they are true only for you, and is not wisdom for them to live by. You've heard some of them, telling your boys, never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. What are you talking about? First, logically, that doesn't make sense. Why doesn't it make sense? Because both hands are part of the same body. If one part of your body decides to turn against another part of your body, that's called cancer. So why are you sharing this unbecoming wisdom that's not really wisdom? Second, it promotes disunity, because the idea that there is something you don't tell your wife produces, or your partner, or I guess whoever the right hand and left hand is in the in the story, but it promotes dishonesty. Right now, because I'm on this, I do believe that there are some things that we don't tell our wives, but it's not to keep secrets, it's to protect them. And you can't use what I'm saying right here, I cheated, but I didn't tell you to protect you. That's a lie. I'm not saying you're being dishonest. I'm not saying, that's kind of untrue. I'm flat out saying that's a lie. You're trying to protect you. Don't say that. And I didn't say that, right? But here's now this is only one example. There are many, right? But here's an example of what I mean, something you wouldn't share with your wife. So a few nights ago, I was up at about 3:30. I woke up about 3:30, and I get a notification on my phone that the outside camera saw some movement. So I just, cars come by, animals. We live in. Have y'all seen Over the Hedge? Where I live at, it's kind of like that. Like the animals be trying to take over at night. So ain't no telling what it is, right? But when I looked at the camera, I saw this car come down the street, and it looked suspicious, right? It came down the street, and it went around. We live in a cul-de-sac, and it went the wrong way around. When I said the wrong way, it went the not so normal way around the cul-de-sac, and it parked in front of the house across the street and turned off their lights. Nobody got out. It just sat there for about 2 minutes. And then, with the lights still off, it drove down the street, all the way down the street to the other end. That's a cul-de-sac too. Turned around and came back, turned the lights on when it left out. I'm like, man, that's kind of weird. So I shared that with my wife the next day. I should not have shared that. Why? Because it wasn't a threat. Nothing was going on. It's something that I could have just paid attention to. Hey, I need to keep my head, I need to make sure I'm keep checking. But why shouldn't I have shared it with her? Because my wife deals with anxiety sometimes, and now every notification she's looking at the camera outside. So that may be a situation where, you don't share with your wife, because there's no threat or whatever. But outside of things like that, me and my wife don't really have secrets, right? If me and my wife got secrets, it's because we ain't discovered it yet, But don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. That's not good wisdom. Okay, so don't share stuff like that with your boys. And I'm sure my dad shared something with me. I tried to think of some before I got on here, but I couldn't really think of any. But ultimately, I want you to know, don't. The reason that is not good advice is because secrets block intimacy, right? Now, another unwise thing to say is just do it and then apologize for it later. Don't say that. Don't give that to your children, right? It's unwise. But now here's some wisdom that you should share. Now, this one is controversial, and I know a lot of you may not agree, right? But I'm going to give it to you anyway because I believe it's good wisdom. And I'm giving you wisdom to help them be great, right? So now, when you get to the point of talking to your children about sex, tell them that they should save their bodies for marriage. Yes, I know that's unpopular. And I'm wondering, I don't know how many people on here, but I wonder how many folk just clicked off. Man, this dude ain't talking about that. He's talking that foolishness now. I don't know. But tell them to save their bodies till marriage. Because here's the thing. You tell your children to do the right thing, even if you know they're not going to do it, and you really don't know. But if you may not think they're going to do it, but you tell them anyway. Why? This way, when they do it, they will at least know they're not doing it with dad's approval. Okay? So on this topic, we probably need to spend more time talking about, how to talk about sex with your children and, do I buy condoms for them? Do I put them on birth control and all that? I'll probably have to do a parenting class or webinar, seminar, or something to talk about that. But tell them what's best for them, right? Remember, you're the parent. You are the moral leader. So if you say don't have sex till you're married, they will respect it, even if they don't do it. They expect you to have morals. So you're not going to look weird. You're not going to, give them the truth. Give them wisdom. Because whether you believe it or not, and I can show you some stuff, although God says no sex before marriage, and I've shared this with you before, a lot of the things, if not all the things, that God shared that says don't do, it's not just because he says don't do it. It's for your protection, meaning he designed it to operate a certain way. And so if you do it differently, you suffer. Sex is one of those things. I used to think, since I'm on this, I used to think that the idea of sex before marriage was just, just don't do that because it's sin and it's wrong. I have a deeper understanding now to know that not only is it wrong, but the reason it's wrong is because it causes a whole lot of other stuff to go haywire. If you look back over your life, you know that I'm telling the truth. Your body count is high. You can probably see a direct correlation between your body count and your emotional wholeness. Okay, so tell them the right thing, right? You're trying to prepare. You want to be the kind of parent that I'm trying to prepare you for life, not for your likes, right? All of us parents, we want our kids to like us, but that can't be when them liking you competes with what's best for them. You better go with what's best for them, because both of you will pay for it in the long run, right? And if you haven't built in them or with them the kind of relationship that causes them to respect your word, then I want to encourage you to get busy building it. All right? Call me. I can help you. As a matter of fact, if any of this is a struggle for you, I can help you. That's what I'm here for. I want to help you. Instill in your children the wisdom it takes to thrive. Right? Let them see you listening to people like Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and Clifton Brantley. Right? The difference between a stressful life and a less stressful life is preparation. So you helping them be prepared for what life is bringing will help their life stress be lesser. It'll never go away, but they can lessen it and they can navigate through it more, should I say, seamlessly, right? And then the last area of your love legacy is the protection that you provide. Now, most men are well aware that they are supposed to physically protect their wife and children, but protecting your children goes beyond their physical protection. Yeah, you must protect them emotionally. This means that you always talk to them with respect. No matter how upset you are or how upset you become, you talk to them with respect. You never, ever, ever want to send the message that you don't care. Listen to their problems and put yourself in their shoes as much as you can when you respond to them, so they'll know Daddy is at least trying. He's listening. I matter to him, right? You also need to protect them mentally, all right? Don't just buy them video games. Buy them video games and books, right? Teach them the value of feeding their mind, because they will need a sharp mind to do life well. And then protect them spiritually, right? You got to protect your children spiritually. Just like you, they were created. This is all of us. Your children, just like you, were created with a malfunction mechanism built in, and it will activate when they try to do life without God. He designed it that way. Why'd you make me that way? There's a place in the Bible where it says, Paul says, the potter who is making, he has the clay in his hand and he makes an ashtray. He makes a beautiful pot with one part of the clay and then takes the same lump of clay and he makes a trash can or ashtray. The ashtray doesn't have the right or authority to say, why you make me a trash can or ashtray? Because I have all power, and you're just clay, and I decided to make it that way. I made this a beautiful pottery, because I wanted to. In the same way, if you ask me why God did that, you can ask him when you get to heaven if you get there. But the point is, whether you believe it or not, there is a malfunction mechanism built in to the system. You're the system. And if you try to do life without him, you will malfunction. Now, some people live a malfunction life and they like it. I got a lot of money. I got a lot of women. I got cars and clothes and houses and whatever, and I'm good. Hey, if that's good for you, then, okay. But you want to protect them spiritually. Introduce them to God. Don't ever forget this. God is not going to give you a life that makes him unnecessary. And that's important to know. Right? Now, I'll dive deeper into that in 2 weeks. But just know that not telling them about God and his love will leave them vulnerable to an enemy who has plans to control their mind. Now, one more thing I'd like for you to protect is their image of you. Right? Don't forget that how you see you is different than how they see you. They don't know you are as broken as you are. Hide your toxic behaviors while you work on them, right? Your children think you're Superman. And as they get older and understand life more, they will know you're not Superman, but you will still be on a pedestal. If you have a habit of drinking, stop. I'm sorry. Let me say that, because I don't want to, I'm not anti-drinking. So correcting what I said, if you are drinking too much, stop. If you're watching porn, stop. If you think God is irrelevant, stop. Right? Don't go that way. Okay. So now, I hope I've shared enough with you to help you at least start to think about the legacy that you want to leave. And over the last few weeks, it has always been my intent to give you valuable information, if not for you to change your life. Like, it's only a few minutes on Mondays when we're together, but it's really to spark the drive and the desire for you to change. Right? I don't expect you to change in these 30-40 minutes. That would be unrealistic. But hopefully I say something that make you say, you know what, I want to get my life together. Let me work on being a better father. Let me do something to leave my mark on my children and the world in a positive way. Right? My goal is to help you be a better man, and this portion is about being a better father. Now, next week, I'm out of the fatherhood part, and I'm on to being a husband. Now, I don't know. I'm gonna try to make that as condensed as possible, because that too can probably be its own mini series. But we'll see how it goes. It depends on the feedback you guys give me. Like, if we talk about a topic and you say, hey, we need to talk more on that, as far as a husband, then I'll do that, right? But I'm gonna try as much as I can to go deep fast, giving you as much as I can in a short time. All right. Last thing is this. Please like this video and all the other videos that you've either watched or, if you like it. I don't just, I ain't asking you to lie. If you don't like it, we need to talk. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine if you don't like it. But if you do like it, actually hit the like button, because I learned that likes help YouTube to know what to show people, like randomly. And I believe as many people as possible should hear these things that I'm sharing with you. Right? So for tonight, it's a little different. I'm doing this a little different. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me. Right? Email me, because I'm not going to take questions tonight. I'm going to let you get to the game. I'm going to go do some other stuff in my wood shop or whatever. But hopefully this was insightful for you. And I did 30 minutes tonight. I was trying to keep it short. I don't want another one of those hour-long marathon type talks. Although, it's good. But I know the age we live in now, the attention span is, not that long. So anyway, and thank you for whoever that was that liked. I saw somebody just liked it. I appreciate you. So, but anyway, I'll see you guys next week as we talk about being a husband. I'll send that email out probably by Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to it. One of my favorite topics. All right. So you guys enjoy the rest of your enjoy the rest of your Martin Luther King Monday, and I will see you next week.